Hi, I'm John. I've been given the task of following the progress of Eurasian scientists in their quest to learn more about climate change. Today, I'm on top of the world, looking down at the Arctic. What do we know about the Arctic then? We know it's cold and provides a home to some fantastic animals, from polar bears and seals to the millions of breeding birds which migrate here each summer. How might climate changes affect the Arctic? A quick look at the press suggests that the main impact is the melting of the ice. The ice cap is shrinking and glaciers are retreating at a rapid rate. Changes seem to be happening in front of our very eyes. Are the oceans changing too? Are the changes that we see really as dramatic as they appear?
The combined efforts of many nations have provided us with the knowledge of what has happened over the last 50 years. But can we imagine what might happen during the next half-century? Answering this question is the prime objective of the Eurasian's European Network of Excellence.
Let's go down there and find out. This is Kongsfjord on the west coast of the island of Spitzbergen. The fjord is a centre for international research. It acts as a base to study climate changes in the Arctic. So why here?
The influence of two water masses means that Kongsfjord is an interesting place for scientists. Cold Arctic water from the Barents Sea meets warm Atlantic water in the West Spitzbergen current. The different waters dominate at different times, creating a variable climate.
Kongsfjorden as a whole system can be used as a climate indicator. The fjord as an indicator if you want. Because the fjord is really affected directly by these climate variables, warm Atlantic water and cold Arctic water with associated zooplankton.
There is another advantage to studying here. The former mining town of Ny-Ålesund provides a base for scientists and is the site of the northernmost laboratory in the world. Scientists from all over the world can use this facility to carry out experiments based on their fieldwork in the fjord. The team from the Norwegian Polar Institute are spending a week in Kongsfjord aboard the RV Lance, collecting samples and data to help them find out more about how the changing climate affects the animals in the fjord. Firstly, they need to find out about the water. The water here is deep, and different water masses may juxtapose or may mix. This probe detects changes in salinity and water temperature at different depths. Next, the plankton. Different species may be found at different depths. The sampler is lowered to the deep water and the 5 nets are open in turn as it is hauled back to the surface. The larger plankton are collected using a tow trawl or MIK net. As the trawl is pulled out of the water, the contents of the trap are rinsed and sent to the lab for analysis. Of course, not all animals hang around waiting to be caught, so a state-of-the-art echo sounder device is used to locate schools of fish. When a school of polar cod is located, a trawl will be used to collect samples. Remote sampling is just part of the job. At some point, if you want to really know what is going on, you need to get into the water. Divers go down to collect sediment samples from the bed of the fjord and to hand-pick some of the larger plankton, which is too delicate to collect with a trawl. And finally, back to the lab to sort and freeze the samples. But what does it all mean?
The aim of all this sampling is to see how energy flows through the food chain. The changing climate in the fjord creates cold and warm water scenarios. Cold water supports large Arctic copepods which store the energy captured by phytoplankton in massive lipid reserves. Birds and fish feeding directly on the calanus benefit from this energy-rich food. In warmer water, smaller, less energy-rich calanus from the Atlantic dominate and birds are unable to capture the energy they need. Smaller fish may feed on the zooplankton and pass the energy on through a different food chain.
Melting ice is only part of the climate change story. It seems that the type of zooplankton dominating in these waters is determined by the climate, and this can affect the survival of many animals. So do we see any changes here?
When it comes to Kongsfjorden, of course, it's being affected by the Atlantic water going into the fjord, and the fauna in the fjord is changing as a result of more warm Atlantic water.
So do the scientists have all the evidence they need after this trip?
No, to address the climate change aspects, you really need to have long data series to see if there's any variability in the data series that you can correlate with other types of variability. And that can be these atmospheric indices that are changing, that researchers think are related to the climate change. But we won't see that from this trip. We will see it based on analysis of a 10 to 15 year data series.
The message seems to be that changes in the Arctic may be happening at many levels, from dramatic glacier retreats to changes in food webs. But change can only really be detected over a long period of time with a series of observations. Clearly, there is a lot more work to be done.